And first of all, I want to thank Al Ayman, the best manager in the world.
He's the fucking champion of the world! Miguel, man!
Hello everybody and welcome to the 118th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your standing host Steve Wellings from Irish Boxing Review, and I've been handed the keys to the Nuthouse for the next 2 weeks while Andy Patterson is away getting checked out. We're all thinking of you, Andy. And I'm joined this week by a podcast panel of the highest quality, consisting of Donny Baseball, Adam Smith, Alex Morris, Kurt Ward and Mr. Paul Webb is joining us as well. If you want to have your say, then add Boxing Asylum Pod to Skype and vent your feelings. For people listening live, don't forget to check out the pod download for an interview with John DeSanto, who has a GoFundMe campaign for Matthew Saad Mohammed gravestone going at the moment. It's about 15 minutes long and it's well worth a listen on the download portion of the show. So guys, we're starting off this week in Sheffield, where we saw Kell Brook post a dominant performance over his IBF challenger, mandatory challenger I believe, Jojo Dan. Now I didn't see this fight live myself, as I was at a show in Belfast hobnobbing with my new Bezzy mate, Ian John Lewis. But when
Judas scum.
He's actually a nice guy, so I can't slag him anymore. Not for the foreseeable future, anyway.
How did you get the picture taken without him wanting to stop it? That's what I want to know.
I think he was ready to go for me. No, my mate Johnny took it for me. So no, he seems like a nice guy. So fair play to Ian John Lewis. He did a good job as well in the main event. So I'll say that for him. But speaking of Kell Brook, I eventually caught up on the Kell Brook fight a short while after, and I thought myself that, as Andy would say, in my own personal opinion, that Dan was pretty much made to order. But saying that, Brook was very impressive. But I think one thing that struck me was how easy Jojo Dan was to hit. He came in fashioned as this relatively sprightly southpaw with a decent sort of in-and-out style, but he got inside all right, but he was usually shipping a right hand and a left hook by the time he got out. I mean, the head movement was non-existent, but Kell Brook's accuracy, Kurt, was just so impressive. He just couldn't miss him with the shots.
Well, that right hand, it was just, as you say, I mean, Dan's neck was like a tree, wasn't it? He just stayed there. There's no movement at all, and every time he landed the right hand, it hurt him. And I was impressed by Kell Brook. I mean, I know people are going to trash Dan now, and you know maybe they didn't think much of him beforehand, but I thought, as I said last week, as a first defence coming off the stabbing or slashing, whatever, I thought it was a totally fine fight. And even though I expected Brook to stop him, I didn't think he'd just destroy him like that and make it look so easy. I mean, people were saying it's one of the worst mismatches in a title fight they've ever seen, and I didn't expect that, to be honest. I've saw Dan in with Ideen, and Bizier in Canada, and I thought he was a respectable first defence, but Brook just made him look like an absolute, a joke really, and I think that's more down to Cal Brook than Jojo Dan. I think he's a decent welterweight, but Cal Brook has shown that he was just too fast and too powerful for him, and his style was made for him, but he's a tough and durable guy, but he just couldn't handle the power, and really, if he weren't holding as much as he was, Brook would have probably finished him in the second round, and now obviously the debate's going to rage on about Amir Khan and Cal Brook fight. I don't think that's going to happen next personally, but I think it's a fight that we definitely want to see, and I think it needs to happen sooner rather than later.
I thought it was a pretty good first defence. I'd seen bits and pieces of Dan. As you said, Kurt, he was no world beater, but he was a decent first defence, especially considering this sort of machete attack and everything. We needed to get Buck back into the ring to see how he looked, to see how he felt, Adam. We didn't know if he could go 12 rounds against a reasonable world-class performer like Dan supposedly is. Say if this fight had taken place as the first defence back in November like it was supposed to, there was no slashing and Brook hadn't had this extended absence from the ring, would you have been still happy enough with this sort of fight to cement Brook into world class after the Sean Porter win?
Well, we haven't got much choice. We've got to be happy with it because it was a mandatory challenger kind of thing. I think Dan secured his mandatory slot in December, but it's a mandatory shot. I looked at Dan a little bit last week, and I concluded that Brook, could have probably won at 70 or 80%, maybe even less. I thought Dan was at least a couple of levels below Brook, but it turned out last night that it was probably 4 or 5 or even more levels below Brook. And like Kurt said, really, we don't really need to hate on Matchroom or Sky or anyone for making the fight. He's got himself in a mandatory position. Kell Brook got himself into a famed and long mandatory position before, and that's how he won his title. So Dan's earned his shot, if you like. It just shows, really. I mean, we're in one of traditionally the deepest and most talented and flagship weight divisions in boxing, and that man's managed to get himself into a mandatory position for a genuine title. It's a poor state of affairs, but I mean, I know we've seen Dan Dam go visit the canvas before, but Brook's gone in there last night and he's KO'd him, which no one's done before, and he's done it in quite spectacular fashion, really. And it was, as Kurt said, it was clear from the outset as soon as Brook landed that right hand. And he continued to do so with ease. It was only a matter of time, and the holding was just out of hand. To be honest, it was painful to watch, but it was one punch away from the fight ending, for 2 or 3 rounds, and Brook eventually got there. So I think that it's difficult, really, because I was thinking to myself last night when with the same old faces on Twitter pop up, and we'll come on to one of them in a minute when Mr. Morris takes the mic. But what could Kell Brook have done last night to bring positivity? He's got to beat what's in front of him. He's done it with ease, and yet people are hating on it. I just don't know. We'll come on to it in a bit. I hope that apparently we've got some callers lined up, so hopefully they come on and talk about Amir Khan. I'm really looking forward to a bit of a debate.
Mm-hmm. Alex, well, I think Adam's laid down the mantle there. I'll just add in my own little piece just in the meantime. Jojo Dan, stylistically, obviously had his deficiencies. What should he have done differently? What could he have done differently? Was there anything he could have done, or was it just all about Brook fighting his fight on the night?
Yeah. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I had a bit of feedback then. I wasn't too negative on Brook's performance, I believe, when I was talking about it. Brook's performance as a whole was excellent. He couldn't have done anything better. Maybe he could have stopped Dan in the second round, but that was mostly due to Dan's spoiling and his awkwardness that he didn't finish that off then. He was almost punch perfect, Brook. He worked behind his excellent jab. We all know he's got an excellent jab. He worked behind that to set up the right hand, and every time that right hand landed, and which he did frequently, Jojo Dan looked really hurt. He looked like he was going to go over, and the size difference between the two is massive as well. Brook, I've said for a while at least that he should be moving up to 154 soon. But if he can make the 147 weight, then all the best to him, because the size and the power really is obviously having an effect. Jojo Dan just looked like a little kid in there, just a little boy really, and. His little awkward herky-jerky style really was just made for Brook, I think. he doesn't really do anything well, Jojo Dan, and Brook, with his, quite orthodox stance and orthodox way of fighting, was just going to easily pick that apart, I think. And as we saw, he did. And, it's not often that I'm positive about Brook, but I am positive about that performance. He did very well. The things that I was criticising, of course, was the nonsense afterwards with, Hearn and calling out of Khan and all this nonsense, and him just generally chatting shite. But I'm sure we'll get onto that after we've discussed the performance.
Mm-hmm. We will get onto that shortly. Donny, just hold off 1 second. Paul, Jojo Dan was obviously retired at the end of the 4th round. I think he'd been down maybe 4 times in total by that point. There was no case for him to be allowed to continue. His corner did the right thing, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think Earl Brown walked into the corner as he went in to say, come on now, any more shots, I'm going to have to stop it. And I think the referee, Earl Brown, was looking at doing that. And I think it was a smart call from the corner. I think you've seen fighters get sent out numerous times and they haven't got a hope. I mean, Dan was walking onto every lead right hand that Brook was throwing. Brook didn't really even have to mix his shots up that much because Dan was offering so little defensively. And Brook looked very good. He did the job. Dan will look back at that and think, well, I'm a slow starter. I never really got into it, but he spoiled, he grabbed, he hugged, and after I say, dropped 4 times in 4 rounds. It was and with nowhere to go, it was a smart decision to pull him out.
Donny, as a wise man once said, who next? Who next? Who next for Brook? Feel free to throw as many names as you want into the ring here and tell us, first of all, what you thought of Kell Brook's performance.
I thought he did what he had to do, what he was expected to do. What's next for him? Who knows? I personally, are we getting on to the... Are we still on the analysis of the fight right now, or are we getting on to the all the other stuff?
Well, analyse the fight first of all, whatever you want to say about Brook's actual performance, and then briefly get onto the other stuff. Okay,
well, one thing I noticed was that in the brief little spots that he tried to, Dan landed a body shot here and there. I mean, basically, the kind of person that I think is most apt to beat Kell Brook is somebody that can fight inside. I think, he's ironically, he's kind of a lot like Khan in a way. I think he only really prefers to fight one way, which is to keep things on the outside. And it's unclear to me as to whether or not Kell Brook has some inside game. I mean, we saw Carson Jones the first time around really give him the business on the inside. So that being said, I mean, he took a smaller guy with not a great deal of reach. He had a good reach advantage, and he pummeled him. And that's exactly what I expected him to do. As for what's next, I'll be honest. I'm going to piss off some of my fellow Khan lovers here. I think Khan needs to take this fight. I do. And be honest with you, I'm going to be very disappointed if he doesn't take it, unless that opponent is Cotto or Bradley or Thurman or Marquez. Or maybe we can have an argument about if he takes Broner, because you could say, well, Khan's trying to do different things. He's trying to, present himself as the man to an American audience, because the bulk of pay-per-view revenue is generated in America. And so, if he beats Broner, maybe his star over here goes higher, and so he's more attractive as a pay-per-view opponent to any of the big 3 fighters. But I mean, if he doesn't take one of those guys, then I think he's going to look really bad if it's not Brook.
I asked this question on Twitter earlier in regards to Broner. If Khan chose to fight Broner instead of Brook, would that be considered a duck of Brook?
What do you reckon, Donny?
Well, like I just said, I mean, is it an easier fight? Yes, because I think Broner hasn't really grown to a full 147 yet, whereas I think Khan in his last fight rehydrated to, 163 or something like that? It's not something very large. Maybe it was 161. But, Khan's really filled out at the weight, and we know that Broner isn't really comfortable up at that weight, and we saw that. If he fought him at a catch weight, maybe I would say it's it's on par with the Brook fight. But again, you also have to look at it from a business point of view. Like I said, even though, I mean, I still think that a whole lot more people over here, specifically boxing fans, I mean, know Adrian Broner than know Kell Brook. And I think that if Khan were to really, beat the hell out of Adrian Broner on primetime TV, I think that would really, raise his stock over here. And like I said, I mean, what the, UK pay-per-view is all well and good, but I mean, what really sells over here, you guys know that they rake us over the coals, right, for the pay-per-view price for pretty much any fight. I mean, it's like $60 for regular and $70 for HD. So the majority of the sales, the majority of the revenue, rather, at least, comes from over here. And so, I mean, you need to be somebody who could generate revenue over here. And if he wants to make himself attractive to Pacquiao or Floyd or Cotto, he needs to be able to prove that, that his stock is high here or in America. And so, I mean, you could say that, well, he knows that the Brook fight will be there, but he wanted to target a notable American opponent like Broner. I don't think it's a duck, but I think, people will debate about it. I don't think anyone could debate about Cotto. I don't think anyone could debate about Thurman. I don't think anyone could debate about Marquez. And I don't think anyone could debate about Bradley. So if he takes any of those fights, I think also it's not a duck.
Tony, I'll help you out there, because as a Khan hater, even I would accept it if he fought Broner. I wouldn't call that a duck. I think that would be quite sensible business in terms of his American ambitions, which are well known.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is quite a divisive and emotive subject, even. It's pretty raw. I think we've actually got Aisha coming on soon, Kurt. I think you're going to add her on. She's full of passion. She's going to get stuck into the lads here.
I bet she was really impressed with Kell Brook and has got a lot of positivity towards Kell Brook. I can imagine, yeah.
I think she wants to kill Donny for saying that Khan needs this fight, I believe. So
he does.
Donny.
Well, I'm probably going to get hate tonight, because I'm just going to practically agree with
Christine
what Eddie Hearn
just
said
to hate
last
on
night.
Adam?
But yeah, bring it on.
Well, we're going to let her have her say. Don't worry. Go ahead, Adam.
I'm just going to agree with everything that Eddie Hearn says about this. People aren't going to be surprised. Alex is going to hate it, but with Mr. A and B already tied up. Cotto looks like he's got a fight. Canelo's got a fight. This is a fight for Amir Khan. It's going to earn him the most money. He thinks it's an easy fight. Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
You're right.
Is this the official Amir Khan correspondent?
Yes.
Hi Aisha, how you doing? Welcome, Aisha. Just 1 second, Adam. Sorry, just finish off what point you're making, and then we'll give Aisha the floor.
Yeah, I've said it before, but last time when Aisha was on, it's the biggest fight for the most money. It gets him back relevant in the British market, and really, I think with Brook owning the final quarter of the title madness in the welterweight division, I think the winner, if that fight was to happen, I think Eddie had mentioned during the 30th last night, if that fight was to happen in Wembley, it would be a massive fight, and really the winner, I would say, is almost nailed on to go and fight Fighter A or Fighter B, particularly Fighter A.
Okay. Unless they retire, but
but I think the loser is likely to retire if there's not a rematch, and the winner, I think, for the unification of all the gold. Not that they're too worried about all the gold nowadays, but they would. I think both Khan and Brook, if they was to fight each other, the winner has legitimised themselves fully on the world stage at 147.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, very warm welcome to you, Aisha. It's great to have you on. We haven't got a whole pile of time, so please take the floor and let us know what you're thinking.
Oh, okay, thanks. First of all, I just want to say, before I say anything, that I made the dinner, I washed the dishes.
You said it, not us.
Yeah, no, because I remember someone commented and said, "Oh, why you got a woman on the show?" Okay, anyways, first of all, what Eddie Hearn saying that what's the date for the fight? June the 30th.
June the 30th,
okay,
potentially. Or 13th, sorry.
Or 13th. Because remember, Khan's got Ramadan as well, so you need to take that in consideration.
When does that start?
It depends. 17th, 18th of June.
Okay, well, it'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll have a few bruises. I mean, he might even be still on liquid dinners by the time that Ramadan comes around. But
all right. So first of all, half of me wants the fight, and half of me doesn't want the fight. The first half doesn't want the fight because I really, really, really don't want Eddie Hearn and Brook to get a payday. I really don't want Hearn to get a payday. That's the biggest. I love this. Issue. That's the biggest issue because look at Grove no to Hearn, Framptons they've got Carl Frampton and Eddie Hearn got issues as well. Eddie Hearn wants everything on his terms, but the thing is, Khan brings the bigger name. Brooks the champion. Brooks the champion's got a belt, but he's calling out Khan. Khan doesn't have anything. He's not a champion. He doesn't have no belts, but he's still calling him out. That's crazy. When does the champion call out a challenger? You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's been a lot of bad, but it hasn't come from nowhere, has it? There's been a lot of bad blood between them for quite a while, and it's just the obvious fight, really.
Yeah, it's the obvious fight. The Brook fight will always be there for Khan. It will always be there for Khan. The Khan wants to chase the big names, but
the big names are tied up, though. This is what I'm saying.
You can't. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if he gets the Cotto fight. We don't know if he gets the Bradley fight. I want him to get either Cotto or Bradley. That would be a great fight.
Is Broner a more important name than Brook there?
Yeah, Broner's been calling him out. So, but I don't think
Brook's been calling him out.
Yeah, but Brook.
A good point.
Yeah, but the thing is with in America, it's like Donnie said, in America, Broner and Brook would be more. It's more of a pay-per-view than Brook and Khan.
I can accept that. I can accept that. That's fine. If the Broner fight does come up for Khan, that's fine. Exactly. But really, if you're thinking about Broner, it's not too long ago. I know he's been beat, but it's not too long ago that there was almost grooming him for the next big pay-per-view star. We all kind of think that Khan would beat Broner. So where does that leave Al Heyman and Broner? So I don't know if it'll actually happen. I mean, they might talk. They both might say the right things, but when the Heyman looks at it,
Yeah, I know. I think Broner's just using Khan's name to make himself look good because he's not going to go up to 147. So I don't know. I don't even think that fight will happen. Also, this fight doesn't progress Khan's career.
How can it not progress his career?
He doesn't.
There's going to be 90,000 people.
Are you talking about the Brook fight, sorry, Aisha?
Yeah. The
How
Brook
can it
fight
not
can't
progress
fight
his career?
because why the IBF belt doesn't really mean much to Khan. He can always become a world champion. He's got other routes. Brook's an irrelevant name to Khan. He has no his CV is crap. Also, Khan? Everyone keeps saying that it's what about the money? Khan's a multi-millionaire. People need to know that. Like,
do you want contracts to fight Brook?
That's actually a good point because if you think about it, this is a belt that I think originally was won by Devin Alexander from Randall Bailey. Honestly, people wouldn't be making such a big deal about it if it wasn't the only one that's not going to be decided on May 2nd. Otherwise, I've never seen so many people make such a big deal out of a title
exactly.
rather than who somebody's actually fought. If they weren't from the same country, no one would be asking for this fight. No one would be interested in it at all. They'd be like, well, this guy Brook needs to fight somebody. But because he happens to be from the same country, now all of a sudden people are like, losing their shit over it. It is.
But what we're saying is, Donnie, in terms he's left his British fan base. A lot of it is left it behind. He's got the hardcore fan base like Aisha, which is fine. That's not a problem. But he's left a lot of the hype train that we've seen Sky etc. build around fighters that aren't as good as Amir Khan. I'm not scared to admit that fighters that aren't as good as Amir Khan have got a better fan base, and he's deserted it. He could come back. He might beat Brook. It's a close fight.
He will beat Brook.
No
doubt.
Say he comes over then. Say he comes over. He gets paid all that money in front of all them many people. He's back in the British limelight. He beats him, like you say, no doubt. That's fine if he beats him. Look how far he's come. And then next time when he does fight, if the winner does fight fighter A or fighter B, imagine the sales Khan against fighter A would do.
No doubt.
All right,
he's got to come back and build his British base again.
Adam,
no doubt. But the thing is, that fight's always going to be there for Khan. Khan knows that. The fight's always going to be there for Khan. He wants to chase the big boys. Let him do that.
I'm happy for him to chase the big boys, but the big boys are tied up at the minute. That's what I'm saying. I'm more than happy for him to chase the big boys.
At which
but
point...
the thing is, Hearn pushing the fight more because he knows that. Sorry, guys. He knows that Brook's going to lose the belt. When Brook's put in with an elite fighter, right, he'll lose that belt. That's it. That's why Hearn wants this fight so badly, so soon. That's the only reason. Because who's Brook going to fight next?
It'll be very interesting to me to see if Brook doesn't get Khan in the ring on June 13th. What kind of string of crap he is going to fight until Khan decides to give him a payday. Because
Donna, I could ask the same question about
Khan. He's going to fight so many bullshit fighters. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to get back again.
Hold on, Donny. Donny, finish what you're saying.
Sorry, guys.
No. Sorry, it's my fault. But I'm just saying, if Khan does not get in the ring with him on June 13th, let me tell you something. That Wembley date is going because he's not getting Marquez over there to fight in Wembley. Marquez turned down Pacquiao for $25 million. Okay, Marquez isn't coming over for Kell Brook. The only guy he can maybe get come over is Keith Thurman. Fight anybody.
Or Rios.
Or maybe Rios. But I mean, like, and that's not even a big fight for Kell because Kell can just keep that fight on the outside, I think, because Rios isn't that sophisticated personally, and I think he's probably used up. But in any case, I mean, they still have to pay Rios a lot of money to get him over there. I mean, Rios isn't going to come cheap. I mean, and Hearn has long arms deep pockets and short arms. He doesn't like to pay to get guys over to England. We've all seen that before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be Gavin versus Kell Brook pay-per-view, Wembley on the 13th of June. I'm telling you.
For 19.
Why don't they get the Thurman fight? Thurman's calling out Brook. Why don't they take that fight?
Yeah, but is Heyman going to let Thurman come over here? No.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know,
but I think bring him over. I think he's willing to come over to fight Brook. Or why doesn't Brook go over there and fight him?
So if Brook gets a Mickey Mouse fight for his next one, you guys are going to laugh. But it's your guy, the fan that you're of, that could make it that could just make the big fight. But I just can't get my head around why it's not working. I know I get that the fight's always there. I get that.
Yeah,
but
he's
going to get paid a shed load of money. He's going to get a belt.
He's got enough money.
Yeah, but can I just pull you up on that? When people, and I haven't said it, but when people say about Froch, he's a multimillionaire and can pick and choose his fight. That's not all right. That gets hated on. But Khan, because he's a multimillionaire, can go 10 months without fighting, but that's fine.
Aisha, respond to Adam, and then we're going to move on because we've got Paul coming on. Final response, please, Aisha. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No,
you're okay. Don't worry. Go ahead, love.
If she don't hurry up, the jinx is going to get her.
I think with the whole Khan thing, I think he's doing it. He just thinks Kell's irrelevant to him. He thinks he's above Kell. That's what I think. It's a bit.
What about when?
It's a little bit of an ego thing.
What about when Froch thinks he's above De Gea? Apparently, that's all right, or is that not all right?
No, that's not all right.
Right. Okay. So we've got double standards. That's fine.
No. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm just saying that I think this is what my personal beliefs are, that Khan's got a little bit of an ego thing where he doesn't want Hearn to tell him what to do. Why should Hearn tell him this is the date you're fighting at? This is where it's going to be. Because Khan brings a bigger name. So to Khan, it's like, hello, hold on a minute. Why are you not telling me what to do? I think that's what it mostly comes down to. It's not like because he's scared of Brook. He'll smash Brook in 12 rounds. That's the end of story.
Excellent. Aisha, thank you very much. You made your point very articulately. It's excellent to have you on as always. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
We'll speak soon, okay?
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Kurt's actually going to get Paul on soon. While he adds Paul to the call, Alex, I believe you were trying to get in there. Do you want to have a quick point?
I forgot my point now. I think it was
like a free for all then, wasn't it?
It was a good chat. It was
like meat to piranhas. It was just I'd have stayed well away.
I'd warn anyone not to go on the Mixer chat, to be honest, because it's just going fucking mental. I'm trying to think of my point. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean the point on Brook, the Brook fight always being there for Khan, I think that, that's a bit of a redundant point, because if Brook is so capable of losing, against an elite champion, say he does fight an elite champion or an elite fighter next, like Thurman or Bradley, and then he loses, the Brook fight isn't there for Khan anymore. It becomes far less important. It becomes far less of a spectacle, especially from a domestic standpoint, and that's where the fight ultimately matters in the UK. It doesn't really sell that well in the US, so I think that although it is there for him, if Brook is a ticking time bomb, then Khan should take it as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Alex. Sorry it took so long to get to you, but thanks for putting your point of view across there. We have another Paul on the line. We've got Paul A. Paul, what does the A stand for? Paul, are you there?
Can all take a guess.
Doesn't sound like Paul's there. Paul, Mr. Paul A, are you there?
Unmute your mic.
Maybe he's doing like a fighter A, fighter B type thing. He got the idea off Andy.
I think he's ducking.
Might stand for Amir.
What's this Khan Algieri talk, Paul? Webb? Was that you were mentioning that in the chat there? Is that genuine or?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are being really stupid and thinking that Amir Khan cares about fighting in the UK. It's really this notion that Amir should want to come and fight over in London and want to come and fight Brook when he's got a pretty easy meal ticket going in the States, fighting once or twice a year when there's a whole list of names of people he could fight. And Khan Algieri may not sound like a great fight, but they could put that on PBC or on Showtime, whatever they want to do, and it would work. Algieri's fought on a main event pay-per-view against Pacquiao. It's a very winnable fight for Khan, and all the names that keep coming up, Thurman, Brook, are all very risky fights. When have you ever seen Al Heyman risk anything? Why would he? Why would he advise him to have a fight like that? No, you'd advise him to fight Brandon Rios. You'd advise him to fight Algieri, fights that stylistically match up well with Khan. I don't think we see Khan Brook in June. I think Hearn knows we don't see it in June. And like I said, we've just heard rumblings that Khan Algieri, from Algieri's side, is a definite, from Khan's side is a possibility. So I don't think anyone should get the hopes up about seeing Khan in a big fight this side of Ramadan.
I actually heard a rumor, though, that Algieri is going to be on the shelf for a while because he may be having a dispute with his promoter. Apparently, does anybody remember what he got for Pacquiao? It was a lot. It was like $3 million, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it was a bit less.
A decent amount.
It was just under that. I think it was like 2.5, something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. Well, anyways, now apparently I think that money's gone to his head, and so he feels like he should be on like $1 million a fight, and his promoter was like, "Are you?"
Khan will say that Brooks fought no one, which is it's got some legs, that argument. Algieri's had a coming out party against a limited boxer, but who can punch, and he's been absolutely smashed by Pacquiao, and yet was trying to sell that as a legitimate Khan opponent.
Yeah, but he's still shared a main event, even if he was the B side of that, with Manny Pacquiao, and that's something that certainly Brook hasn't done. And like I said, if Khan is only thinking about what's happening in America, and the purses for American fighters are ridiculous. I mean, Rios got paid $1 million for that nothing fight against Alvarado, and I think the idea that Eddie will pay big money to get people over is just very
if we end up with Brandon Rios in Sheffield sometime in June, can we all say that we're going to accept that because he was the B-side against Pacquiao when he also got obliterated, but was still standing?
I'd have no problem at all with Brook Rios. I think that the idea that you have the minute you win a world title, that you have to be in unification fights, you have to be in seriously tough fights. There's nothing wrong with a champion like Brook, who's been out for quite a while, putting together a couple of defences. And Rios it's a good name, and I think Rios stylistically is made for Khan. I think he walks onto every shot that Khan throws, but it would be a good fight.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a good point. Paul, are you there? Paul, do you want to mute your mic?
That silence is like the Frankie Gavin fight last night, isn't
AA, well.
Wait, he's trying to join with video.
Paul wants to show you
Do
video.
I accept or not? I don't know.
Right.
Last time we saw a video was Rocco.
Yes, I'm not going there.
That was Rocco the last time.
Video.
Yeah, we're sort of starting to exhaust the Khan Brook debate at the moment. So while we try and get Paul on, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get him on or not. Alex, I sent you earlier actually about the undercard, the Kell Brook undercard. No, I didn't see any of this whatsoever. So I said to you, put yourself in Eddie Hearn's shoes and try and sell me the undercard. Tell me what was good about that undercard and why I should have been sitting at home watching it.
Right, well, to start the show, we had an excellent fight featuring the gold medal winner, Frankie Gavin, in 10 rounds against a tough Eastern European boxer who very tough man, this man. And Frankie Gavin, he went the full 10 rounds. He tried his hardest to get him out of there. He really went just all out trying to win this fight. But unfortunately, he could not get the knockout. Still, it was a masterful defensive genius performance by Frankie Gavin, and it's well worth watching. Following that up, we had Gavin McDonnell, the twin brother, in fact, of the IBF and WBA bantamweight champion, Jamie McDonnell. And Gavin McDonnell was against the tough, undefeated Ukrainian, I think, or possible Russian, Yegorov. And that was an excellent fight in which The commentators assured me that Gavin McDonnell, with his 3 KOs in 14 fights, was going to grind this Russian down and knock him out late. But instead, it was a very close fight in which they robbed the poor Russian. But it doesn't matter because Eddie secured the judges. And then finally, in the follow-up fight to that, we had Adam Etches against Sergey Kamitsky, which is actually a very good fight. And Adam Etches, powerful man. He's knocked out a lot of people. Kamitsky, dangerous man. Kamitsky knocked him spark out. Watch it. It's good KO.
I think.
Thanks, Eddie.
I think the with the Gavin fight, the opponent had like a Matisse type rat tail, didn't he? A bit of a little thing going on, but he was. Gavin, he doesn't let his hands go enough. The problem with him is he's at a weight where most people feel that he shouldn't be at. He should go down, but he says he can't do it. He hasn't got the punching power, so you're forced to go 10 or 12 rounds, whatever fights he's in, and the crowd are dead every fight, and it's a shame because he is a talented kid, but I don't know, for whatever reason it just hasn't worked out for him, and he's got a tough fight, I think, for where he's at now against Van Heerden, and if he looks poor in that one, I think he could potentially lose that fight, but he needs a much better performance than what we saw yesterday.
Anyone else want to weigh in on the undercard? Have your say now.
Yeah, I think for Gavin it was difficult because this was his chance. He's back on Sky. He's in a fight that in theory looked quite straightforward, and it was. He took 12 punches in 10 rounds, which defensively is brilliant. But it just there was no drama, there was no excitement, and also I don't think Frankie was that bothered. He wins the way he wins, and that's just it. He doesn't seem to have any interest in what's happening outside of the ring. The only exciting Frankie Gavin fight that's been the last couple of years was when he lost. And that's not a good sign. For him to be in a good fight, it has to be when he's struggling. And it wasn't really a great advert for Frankie Gavin boxing. It was drab for 30, 40 minutes.
I'm surprised that Frankie couldn't get rid of him because, first fight for Eddie Hearn, I believe, and Eddie will want to make Frankie look like a world beater and, Frank Warren, and basically show Frank Warren up. So, not
Gavin
good enough.
didn't even try. Gavin didn't even try. That's what pissed me off.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, but look what they got for him. So Frankie Gavin's a quick counter puncher who puts shots together in single shots. They got him an Eastern European defensive fighter who, you can say that he's great defensive, that he only landed 12 shots, but that shows how little offensively he tried. It was like a lot of these matchroom undercards at the moment, you're starting to get decent names in with absolute nobodies who have got no intention of winning. It just totally sucks the drama out of the fight. We had it with Bradley Saunders a few weeks ago. Stephen Smith was similar. It's just, there's nothing in the opponent. The opponent's not there to win, and on a televised fight, they should absolutely be there to do that.
Okay, guys, I think we might have Paul A on the line. Paul, third time lucky?
Right, can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear. What do you want to talk
There
about?
you go. Well, I'm going to come from the Brook angle. Now, we had our issue with the Khan stuff. Just, first of all, right, can anyone name, and I mean, at the time he fought them, an elite fighter that Khan's been in with? Now, you could argue Maidana, but when Khan fought Maidana, he wasn't elite, and Garcia's not elite.
That is such bullshit. Sorry, go ahead.
So, that's my opinion, and I don't get that. Oh, well, Brook will lose when he goes in with an elite fighter. That's all right. But
he's a totally different fighter now, which is just not true. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, I think he is, but it's like, oh well, when Brook goes in with an elite fighter, he's going to get beat. Well, let's see Khan win one of the top boys. Let's see Khan now take a fight with someone who can punch instead of we'll fight Algieri, who's going to do absolutely nothing. He'll move about and Khan will win every round. He won't touch Furman, so it's not even open to debate. He'll fight punches who thinks it's acceptable to lose against. So if he goes in with Cotto, obviously Cotto's a puncher, but if he loses to him, it's acceptable in his eyes. It's not like if he gets beat by Brook, he'll look like a muppet. If he gets beat by Furman, it won't look that great. But I don't understand why it's, oh, well, Brook's got to do this. Why? There's no reason, but Khan's not going to get Cotto. He's obviously not going to get fighter A or fighter B because they're tied up. So I can't see him getting Bradley because Bradley's not going to want that fight, is he? So why would he not fight Brook?
You're saying Bradley would duck him? That's a compliment.
Yeah, no, well, it ducked him before.
That's one.
Go ahead, Paul. Paul Webb, did you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's already ducked him once. So I think the Bradley fight is a bit of a non-starter. But I disagree though. I think if you look down Khan's record, he doesn't have a massive name, but he has consistently fought a good level of competition against unbeaten fighters, world champions, former world champions. I think his resume isn't really up for dispute. The performance in some of those fights might be, but you can't knock who he's fought.
No, I agree with that. It's just when the word an elite fighter is getting bandied about. For one, I don't think there's many elite fighters, so it's a bit of a nonsense word to use sometimes. But it's just, I think you've got to say Maidan's his best win. Looking back on it now, but like a lot of people saying the Alexander fight, but it's just my personal opinion. I think Alexander's way over the hill. He's not what he was, and he wasn't elite at that point anyway. And again with Colozzo, there's a lot made of that, but Colozzo's not really been much for a long time.
I think the problem with Khan is at welterweight, if you look at who he's fought, so Alexander Collazo, Diaz, Molyneux was at catchweight, whatever it was, he's not fought great opponents at 147, and that's why, like I said, I don't think he'll go in with a massive fight next. I think he'll have another building fight at welterweight. I don't think, not that he's not ready for it, but I just don't think he'll rush into a huge fight next. As much as he keeps banging on about chasing Mayweather and Pacquiao, that was never going to happen.
But there's a lot of nonsense from both sides. So there's some Brook fans who are just coming out with absolutely ridiculous statements, following what he's saying, like, "Oh, Khan's had it easy." That's just stupid. It annoys me on both sides with some of the stuff that I'm hearing. But like again, some of the stuff that can't, like, "Oh, he's way above Brook. What's he gained from fighting Brook?" Well, what's he gained from fighting Algieri? Is it just to compare it to what Manny did? If it is, what's the point?
Well, it does nothing for over here. Nobody over here will care about the fight. It'll be on at 4 a.m. The viewing will be crap. But it just gets him another win on American TV. And like I said, you look how many times Khan's fought in England over the last 5-6 years. Once, twice. He's not bothered about that. And it's another win. He's just looking at racking up wins at the moment. And with the system they've got in place with Heyman, where he knows he's going to be guaranteed big money over the next few years, if he can keep winning, there isn't a rush to go and take that Brook fight. I mean, I want to see the fight. I think it's at a point now where Brook has won the title. He's come back, defended it strongly. It makes sense to do it now, but if every fight that made sense got made, we would already have Frampton, Quigg done and gone. Groves to Gale would be on in April. It's just not going to work like that.
No, but the thing is, it's like when the money's mentioned about the Brook fight, you can get this. It's like, oh well, I'm not motivated by money. He's not motivated by the title. What is he motivated by? Fighting Mayweather. Well, he's not going to get that fight. He's not going to get the Pacquiao fight. He probably won't get the Cotto fight because Heyman's not going to deal with Jay-Z. So what is he actually aiming to do? Just fight guys like Algieri, just take a bit of money with an easy fight? Is that what he's trying to do? Because I can't see. This is the argument that keeps getting put across. Oh well, that's not what he's looking for. What is he looking for? What is he trying to do? Because it doesn't seem like he's trying to do anything.
Well, I'll put it like this. I think that Amir Khan is in a much stronger position than Brook is, even though Brook has the belt. Because if you look at it, you look at the options that are readily available for Khan and realistic, and then you look at the options that are for Brook. For Brook to get a lot of those US names, he's going to have to come and fight in America again. That's clearly not what they want to do. They want to keep him over here. So it means they're going to have to pay guys who are either over the hill or ones that are willing to travel for the money. Whereas Khan doesn't have to worry about getting them over anywhere, doesn't have to worry about his promoter paying them over the odds. He's got a plethora of fighters he can walk in with and fight in June or in September after Ramadan's over. He's in a much stronger position than Brook, and he knows that, and also Hearn knows that, and that's why they're putting so much pressure to try and make the fight happen.
No, I agree with that, but it's because the fact he's saying is it's not the money, but what is he actually aiming for? If he's aiming for a legacy, why does he not just fight Brook? If it's an easy fight, why is he not just fighting, take the money, take the belt? Then he's got that extra bit of bargaining piece there if he wants to get Manny or Floyd, or even if he wants to get caught. If he's got a belt, I don't see what he's just dismissing the fight out of hand for. I don't see what he's got to gain from just saying.
Do you not think that Brook is being a bit desperate though?
Yeah. Well, I said that. It is annoying me the way they're going about it. It's just every 30 seconds it is just calm this, calm that. Just go and fight Rios. Rios is not a great fight, but it's not shit. It's a step forward. Then see if they can get him later. They don't need to rush into it. There's no need. I don't see what.
Your man though, Rios is a big step forward.
Compared to I think Porter's pretty shit, to be honest. I think he's horrifically baited, but is better than Dan. It's another step forward. It's not great. But then when they're mentioning idiots like Berto and Ortiz, like Johnny Nelson is saying that Ortiz would be a great fight for the summer. If it's Ortiz, that's it. I'm out. I can't remember the line that he put. I'll put it on Twitter later. I'll try and find it. Something like, "It's not an easy fight, but it's not a hard one as well."
That's a good value of the week right there. Yeah. Johnny Nelson.
We'll add that one on. Send that one in. We'll add that one onto the list. We've got 3 on the value of the week list. That'll be number 4.
I've read it earlier. It's like Ortiz is shit. He's absolutely terrible. I can't even believe that he'd try and pass that one. That was just ridiculous when I read that. But this is
Berto is a logical fight, though. I mean, if you look, he might not have won a lot recently, but he's won his last fight. He's won on PBC or whatever network in America they showed it on. So that's a potential fight. But that's a bigger fight for Khan. If you're Andre Berto, would you come to the UK to fight Kell Brook? Of course not. Not when you can earn just as much money fighting at home.
Khan's not going to fight his sparring partner. Don't forget they're both Virgil Hunter fighters, but I mean, I could see Berto coming over because I mean, basically resurrected his career with that recent win over who did he fight there?
Lopez.
Yeah, but I mean, he needed that win in the worst way, and now his career is going to move forward, and I think he'd be somebody who'd be eager to take a step up and take a crack, and he can fight inside too. So, I mean, I think he might like his chances to maybe pull an upset over there. He can punch, so. It's always possible. I think he'd take that fight, and I don't think it would take huge money to get him over.
No, Alex, say your piece, and then Paul will ask you one final question and move on. Alex, go ahead.
Berto's muck. That's about it, really. Berto's shy. He was losing against Josito Lopez. Lopez was fucking schooling him for those first few rounds, making him look fucking stupid. That's an awful fight. And if they try and sell that to us over here, it's a fucking joke.
Fair enough, Alex. Paul, we're going to move on there. Before we go, finally, if the roadblocks were all pushed to one side and Khan and Brook managed to solve their problems, how do you see the fight playing out?
I think if it goes 12 rounds, Khan will probably win. But I think Brook will knock him out. I think he'll get him at some point.
Okay, fair enough. Excellent stuff. Thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Cheers.
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Paul. Okay, so we've got Henry coming on next. While we wait for Kurt to hook Henry up, and he's going to have his say. I'm not quite sure what Henry's going to talk about. It might be Khan against Brook. I might have a bit of chat about that before we finish up. Lads, the Oval McKenzie Matty Askin fight, that was on Friday night. Paul Webb, just briefly while Henry's coming on, do you want to have a quick word about that? Because Oval McKenzie won a split decision, didn't he, in that one on Box Nation?
He did. A lot of people were scoring it in a wide variety of ways. It was a absolutely horrendous fight. Not Oval's fault as such. Askin just grabbed, fouled, held, grabbed, fouled, points deduction, fouled again, and he got to a point where he'd already had 2 points. He should have been thrown, and the ref obviously just didn't want to stop the fight in that way. It would have been, I think, the second main event in Iran Box Nation for British shows where it had gone because of disqualification. And I mean, McKenzie looked very slow to start. Askin definitely got the better of the early rounds. I think I had it scored very close, but I did have it to McKenzie. A lot of people had it a wide variety of ways. But McKenzie won his first ever 12-rounder, and the first time he's actually won a fight longer than 6 rounds. But the judges' scores, like I say, were, because the deductions were all over the place. So it was 116, 109, 115, 111 to McKenzie, and then Askin got 114, 113. So very difficult fight to score, horrible fight on the eye, and it was everything that can go wrong with some of these small hall Frank Warren events. It was awful.
Henry's on the line, but Adam, go on ahead and say your piece very briefly.
Yeah, I thought Askin took at least 5 of the first 6 rounds, so it was always going to be an uphill struggle for McKenzie. Askin was favourite in the betting throughout the contest, not beforehand, but in play, it was odds on for most of the contest. I think it got to the stage whereby he'd already had 2 points off, as Paul said. And it got to the stage where the ref was almost, Askin could have held him for the full 3 minutes of the 12th round, and he wouldn't have chucked him out. Yeah, I know it's slightly different, but it almost reminds me of when I was thinking Hopkins, when Kovalev was chasing him around the ring. I mean, and if as long as Hopkins stayed on his feet in that last round, he was going to hear the final bell, and that was almost the same with the holding. It was the ref was determined not to call it off. I had Askin winning by 2 points, but it could have gone either way. I was pretty shocked though that Mackenzie got it. To be fair, and that it was just, I think, as someone's just said in the chat, Mackenzie was just trying to load up. And he was trying to rely on his power, and Askin fought quite well, considering that only 9 months ago he actually put someone in hospital after a fight. So I thought there might have been some mental scars. I know he's been away from the ring, and it looks like he's mentally recovered. And I like Askin. I think he can come again. And there's some decent fights out there for all of the guys at cruiserweight domestically. Just a shout out as well. There was a kid on the undercard. I think it was at light heavyweight. Was it? Remind me of his name, Paul Webb.
Miles Shinkwin.
Miles Shinkwin. I thought he was all right. He seemed to be enjoying himself. He looks like one of them that where there's some improvement to come, and I think he'll go back to the gym and get some more improvement and then go again. I think he'll be in some decent fights at light heavy.
Yeah, I think the best part of the card was also Mitch. If you've not seen it, YouTube it. Mitchell Smith's knockout of Antonio Horvatic. Absolutely stunning. 4-punch combination. The gum shield flies, and it was probably one of the highlights of the undercard. Apart from obviously Romeo Romeo, who we all enjoy watching.
Okay, guys, we've got Henry on the line now, actually. Henry, it's quite literally the Nuthouse tonight. Welcome. The floor is yours, sir. What do you want to say?
You're right, guys. I'm literally still laughing at Ortiz for Brooke. That one, to be honest. Do you know what? A lot of things have been said already, to be honest. I don't really have a horse in the race in terms of Brooke and Khan, but what does annoy me are the arse lickers and the bashers. Both from Khan's side, really. So people who bash Khan, it's a bit unreasonable, and his arse lickers as well are unreasonable. I would say, though, and it's been touched on already, we may as well look at Khan as a sort of American fighter, because he's with Heyman, he's in that camp, that's how he's making his money. So obviously he's trying to put himself in position for the Mayweather and Pacquiao sweepstakes. Obviously they're already fighting, but in the meantime he's gonna want to just sort of get back into position, really, until one of them are free again. But having said that, obviously being here in the UK, I think the Brooke fight's a no-brainer. All the excuse, he doesn't need money, Brooke needs to do this, Brooke needs to do that. End of the day, 80,000 at Wembley Stadium. People say, okay, we don't need money, but if that's not glory, then I don't know what is, to be honest. So I think people need to, look at it from both sides, but at the same time, make the fight happen. It's a no-brainer.
Do people think this fight sells out Wembley?
I don't.
With enough promotion, I think.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are using Wembley as the example because of the Fox Groves, but that was such a unique set of circumstances. I think it's a very big fight, but I don't know. I mean, Brooke is still a relatively unknown. He didn't manage to sell out. Well, I think they said he did on the night, but it was close to selling out the arena. It certainly didn't fly like Froch fights had before. Froch Kessler went very quickly, and other fights had. I just don't know whether it is It might be. I don't know. I don't know if it's just big enough for that sort of event. But
I think with a decent undercard, which Eddie has the ability to do at the drop of a hat, obviously it need to be a good undercard. I think it would sell out Wembley. To be fair, I think the appetite's there now. You'll get a lot of people that were there last year. Obviously, that fight would have nothing to do with Froch and Groves at all, but you'll get a lot of them people coming back. It'll be another massive event, and it's more the event rather than the fight, if you see what I mean. They'll want to be there for the event, and he's made no secret that Sky and Eddie Hearn want to do one a year at Wembley, and that's obviously the one for this year. So yeah, I think it would.
And not only that too, but I think you have to realize. I think I've said this before, maybe, but the winner of Froch Groves 2 was basically a contest to see who was the second best super middleweight in the world, and that was about it. Whereas the winner of this fight would presumptively be, as you said earlier, nailed on to be the person who fights the winner of Mayweather Pacquiao if the winner keeps fighting. So,
Steve, can I just say that's the first mention of the names M and P. So there could be a sin bin coming up for Donny.
I wasn't paying full attention, so I'm going to let that one slide. But Henry, what did you make of Kell Brook's performance against Jojo Dan last night? Were you impressed?
Yeah, I was. I mean, Jojo Dan, he's a decent enough operator. Nothing special. Awkward, herky jerky. So, I didn't expect him to go the distance at all. I expected Kell to do what he did. But and another thing, people are saying, Kell Brook's competition, Jojo Dam, what is he? Like, the guy was stabbed up last year, right? And he's come back and he's fought, Dan wasn't just handpicked for the fun of it. He was number one contender. Why not get a mandatory out of the way? Look good, beat him, on to bigger and better things. So, yeah, he looked good.
Paul, I believe you were impressed with the commentary. Have you say?
Oh God, I think I tweeted last night. It was it's hard to say this because there's been so many great examples, but the single worst continual set of commentary from Nick and Jim that I can ever recall. They were absolutely shambolic. I mean, from going through the Gavin fight, yes, the fight was boring, but they just added nothing to it. In the Adam Etches fight, when Etches, everyone in the arena, everyone sitting at home could see that Etches was asleep, and Jim Watt went to jump in and say that was a quick stoppage. And then it's a bad situation when Nick Halling has to be the voice of reason and stop him mid-sentence and say, no, he's out. They were absolutely abysmal. And even though we won't have to hear Nick Halling for the M&P fight, the fact we're still going to have Jim Watt. And it's easy to slag them off. It's easy to slag commentators. But they are getting worse and worse and worse. And Saturday was... I was shouting at my telly with some of the stuff they were coming out with. And the Gavin McDonald fight, they built up Yegorev, like they slagged him all the way up to the first bell. And then one round in, actually, no, he's a tough, tricky European operator. He's got an unbeaten record. And they just kept switching their minds every 5 seconds. And it was awful, awful, awful. Sack Nick back off to NFL and send Jim back to Spain and don't let him get on his flight back over here. Awful, awful.
I agree with the Jim Watt thing. I was watching that Adam Etches knockout, and I was just thinking, like, if that was the other way around and Etches had iced him like that, Jim Watt would be like, oh yeah, great stoppage, because he was the British kid. He wanted him to carry on some way somehow, and it's just like, come on, man, have some consistency.
He knew it was Howard Foster, and he thought, I could get a bit on side here because everyone hates Howard Foster. So I'll quickly say that was far too fast. It was a perfect stoppage, and even after that, he sort of kept on a backtrack on himself, and he's done it before numerous times, and they've been crap numerous times, but they took it to another level, and it's something that Adam Smith, Eddie Hearn, the Sky Sports production team, they see the tweets and they see the messages that people streaming. I don't know any other sport. I don't ever see when Wimbledon's on, people slagging off, what's his name, Andrew Castle. And the commentators for other sports just don't get anywhere near no one likes them. I don't know anyone that thinks they're a good addition to the Sky Sports team. And Ian Dark, I don't know what BT are paying you, but come back to Sky or get some boxing on BT.
Agreed.
Henry, we've got Sean coming on next, so before we let you go, is there anything else you want to quickly add in?
No, I just think the fight should get made, and also, I know you're probably going to cover it later. I'll watch the American card later.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Russell versus Walters. That'd be a decent fight. And then the Charlo Martirosyan fight, I fell asleep, but then I had to watch it again today. I think Martirosyan got a bit jobbed there, but it was a decent card considering I thought Showtime were going to go to shits now, so it wasn't half bad.
Do you think Russell Jr. would be able to live with the firepower of Walters? I mean, I suppose he seems durable enough, to be fair to him.
Do you know what? Actually, he might not be able to. Walters might be able to sort of walk through him, but that's why these fights are made. I'd be interested in that one actually. Obviously, taking Lomachenko out of the equation because I actually think Lomachenko beats Walters. So yeah, I think Walters Russell for the right to fight Lomachenko would be ideal in my book.
Excellent stuff. Just a shame the politics gets in the way, I suppose, man.
Yeah, I think unless it's a purse bid, I think you could obviously see Russell Jr. staying with the PBC lot, and then Lomachenko Walters staying with Top Rank. But we'll see. But yeah, I'll let you guys get on. Have a good one, guys.
No problem. Call in again, Henry. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, Steve, just a polite note to the likes of Aisha. We've had 3 callers, and the last 2 callers, Paul and Henry, have both said that Khan should fight Brook regardless.
And can we just say to the people trending Alex out in the Mixer chat, well done.
Why is that trending?
Adam out, not Alex
Adam
out.
out, isn't he?
Or Adam?
Adam out, yeah.
Well, I can't
Understand.
see the mixer chat, so Kurt, I need the best example you can find of Adam hate, please.
Oh, well, there's so many.
I don't want to be the guy to do that to you, to be honest.
Come on.
Adam,
They need to let us know what it is. Is it the Frotch sound alike? What is it?
there's a 7-1 chance that you're not getting on next week. Anyway, guys, we're going to add Sean on now. Just let you know that this is actually the part of the show where we'll put in the interview with John DeSanto discussing the Matthew Saad Mohammed campaign, which will be available on the downloadable version. So that'll be going in now. Hello, Boxing Asylum listeners. It's Steve Wellings here alongside Kurt Ward, and we have a very special interview today with John DeSanto. John, thanks very much for coming on and talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem, John. Well, you're on here to talk today with us about Matthew Saad Mohammed, and you're busy raising the profile of current Philly boxers and keeping alive the memories of boxers gone past. And of course, back in May 2015, Matthew passed on in pretty much a destitute situation. And to honour his memory, you have a GoFundMe campaign going on to try and purchase a gravestone for him and preserve the memory of a true ring warrior. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about this project? It's your 5th project of this nature, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is the 5th gravestone that I've done. I do a website called PhillyBoxingHistory.com, and one of the side projects, related to that website is to raise money and purchase and place gravestones for Philadelphia boxers that are in unmarked graves. And as you said, it's the 5th one that I've done. Matthew Saad Mohammed, by far the most famous and celebrated fighter on the list. But from Philly's standpoint, I've done some other. The others are also really, really important figures in the history. Tyrone Everett was the first. Gypsy Joe Harris, a great welterweight, was the second. Garnett Sugar Hart, a welterweight contender from the 1950s, was the third. Eddie Cool, who was a great lightweight from the 1930s, was the fourth, and now Matthew Saad Mohammed. So because of the size of just the profile of Matthew Saad Mohammed, being a world champion and a big star, this one I did a little bit differently. Usually it's a very grassroots kind of down and dirty campaign to raise some money. This time I did this GoFundMe.com campaign because I thought, people all over the world perhaps would want to donate and get involved with this. And that's the case. And so raising the money, doing pretty well. I fully expect to hit our goal, but still need, people's help to get us there and push us over the line. Saad Mohammed was a great fighter, arguably the most exciting fighter who ever lived, and one of my favorites. I grew up as a teenager going to fights in Philadelphia and seeing guys like, from that era, Jeff Chandler, Curtis Parker, and Matthew Saad Mohammed, who left the biggest impression of all. His fights were amazing, and he was also a really great guy outside the ring, really friendly, lit up a room, every room he walked into. He was a big star and just so approachable and a wonderful guy. And, I was lucky enough to know him a little bit. And, it's really rewarding to just be involved in doing something like this. I think it's a good effort, but I also think it's something that helps to bring boxing fans together. And it's one of the goals I have with my website and these other projects that I do. We all love these fighters, and there's a lot that we can do just a little bit at a time. We all just have to, do a little donation and make this thing happen. And when the gravestone goes up, and the family's chosen a really beautiful stone with his image on it, there's a lasered in image of Saad Mohammed with his WBC championship belt draped over his shoulder. It'll be a great monument to him, and it'll mark his final resting place, which I think is important. We want to remember these guys, and after we're gone, as time goes on, someone in an unmarked grave, it gets harder and harder to find them. For people who want to do that and go out and pay their respects. So, it's a worthy effort, and it means a lot because he was so important to the history of Philadelphia boxing, and people are reaching out and they're getting involved and they're getting this done. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, people definitely are reaching out, John. I mean, we're looking to hit the $5,000 milestone, and I believe we're just at $30 as of this minute off the 4,000 mark. So things are going pretty well. We'll obviously put up a link to the GoFundMe page at somewhere in the show notes or something so people can contribute. If people are looking to contribute, there are these sort of incentives, aren't there? Like a bronze or a silver and a gold. Do you want to just briefly say something about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of give some incentive to people to make a donation, and also to thank them for getting involved. Everybody who donates, whether they donate $1 or $100, the first level they'll get a limited edition boxing card of Matthew Saad Muhammad. The next level, silver level, is $100. If you do $100, you'll get a 16 by 20 photo of Saad Muhammad, a beautiful action shot, blown up, ready to frame. And you'll also get the boxing card. And then if you go to 200, the gold level, you'll receive those two gifts plus a special Saad Muhammad T-shirt made especially for this campaign. And then if you go as far as 500, you'll receive all those other gifts plus a 9 by 12 oil pastel painting of Saad Muhammad. There's a great local for us, a Philadelphia artist named Lou Baker, who's done a lot of Philadelphia artwork for me at various times, and he does a great job. And a couple of years ago, I did a boxing art exhibit, and primarily of Philadelphia or Philadelphia related subjects, and Lou had a big number of those paintings, and so he is currently working on these paintings now. And I've talked to him, and they're underway. And as soon as we reach the goal, then we're going to get these things out to everyone. And so so there's some incentives out there, and really what they are is you love Saad Muhammad, you do so much as to step forward and make a donation. Well, then you'll come away with a keepsake that will be, remind you of your, how generous you were, and also that you have a part of this effort to put a gravestone down for one of our greatest warriors. So the stuff is going to be really nice, and it'll be a nice addition. If anyone out there likes to collect this stuff, or just put a picture of Saad Muhammad on your wall just to remember how great he was and how much he means. It'll be out there. And if you want to make a donation, as you said, you're gonna post the link, but you just need to go to www.gofundme.com and search for Saad Muhammad, and it'll come up. But there is a GoFundMe.com / and then like a brief code that takes you right to our page, so you can do that, or you can go in and search for them, and you'll find the campaign.
John, I'm going to hand you over in a minute to my colleague Kurt Ward, but just before I do so, obviously for guys like myself who were too young to enjoy Matthew at the time when he was sort of in his prime, we can only watch the videos on YouTube now. But you even get coming across a sense of what a great warrior was with his fights against the likes of John Conte and Yaki Lopez and Dwight Quarry and all these sort of Hall of Fame recognised names. Which fights would you point someone to if they were looking to see what really represented Matthew Saad Muhammad as a fighter, and how you found him actually in the ring as a boxer?
Well, I was lucky enough I am lucky enough to be old enough to have seen him fight and gone to see him live. And he fought. There's a place called the Spectrum, in Philadelphia. It's gone now. There's a new arena in its place. But back in the day, the Spectrum had some of the greatest fights. And Saad Muhammad was definitely a highlight. And there was there's sort of two phases to his career: his pre-championship era and then his championship era. When he was coming up at the Spectrum, and he made his pro debut at the Spectrum on the undercard of a bigger fight, but before long he became like a real star at the Spectrum, and he had amazing fights with Marvin Johnson, who he eventually had a great rematch with. But they fought this amazing war at the Spectrum, and Saad Muhammad won in the 12th round. He fought Yaki Lopez before the title fight in another real struggle. He fought Billy Dynamite Douglas, who was Buster Douglas's dad, who was a very tough guy and who spent a lot of time in Philly. And he also fought Richie Cates, who had fought Victor Melendez a couple times for the world title, and was a very high quality fighter. Yeah. That's my own personal favorite, the Richie Cates Saad Muhammad fight. But then he went on to win the title against Marvin Johnson, who had won the title after Saad Muhammad had beaten him, and said he was a throwback guy and said, "Hey, I can't feel like a champion until I give Saad Muhammad a rematch and a chance to fight for the title." And Saad Muhammad took the title from him in an absolute bloody, glorious war. But then Saad Muhammad, he fought especially the first John Conte fight was amazing. He had a little easier time with him the second time. But early on in this title reign, third or fourth defense, Saad Muhammad fought Yaki Lopez again. And this was the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year. It was also the Round of the Year. And it was just amazing. And I actually watched it myself on YouTube not long ago, just actually last week since this campaign started. And it really is such an amazing fight because, there was a thing about Saad Muhammad. I think there was a period of time that he was literally unbeatable. Like every fighter has their prime, and there's a time when, they seem to be untouchable. But people got to Saad Muhammad, these great fighters. It was a great era for light heavyweights, and they got to him, and they cut him, and they knocked him down, and they beat him up. But the guy had something that was just unbelievable, his ability to absorb the punishment and somehow come back. And that's become, like kind of the trademark of Saad Muhammad. You talk about the Rocky movies and other great boxing movies, and they always go too far. Like the fights are always, a little far-fetched. Well, if they put Saad Muhammad's fights in a movie, people would say that's ridiculous. That could never happen because this guy just came back from, this absolute brink of disaster. And in a sense, these guys came so close to beating him, but yet he was able to come away with these wins. So I do think there was a time that you literally could not beat him unless maybe if someone, hit him with a sledgehammer or something like that, they might have gotten him out of there. But other than that, I would point people towards the Yaki Lopez fight, the Marvin Johnson fight. They were the best. But some of these older ones at the Spectrum are also on YouTube, and they're not quite as glossy. It's a little grittier, and they were amazing wars too. But you can't go wrong with any of this fight. Even when he finally lost his title to Dwight Muhammad Qawi, a guy from Camden, New Jersey, right over the river from Philadelphia, but he also trained in Philly. Saad Muhammad was finally ready to be taken, and Qawi was a guy who was just a very good fighter and really tough, and came along and, took the title from him. But all of Saad Muhammad's fights were thrilling, and, it's something that, people in the modern time, they talk about Arturo Gatti, who I loved and would never miss a fight. But I really honestly believe, as much as I love Arturo Gatti, Saad Muhammad was Gatti times 10. Like, his fights were that much more, they were crazy. And I also think that in this day and age, I don't think there'll ever be another Saad Muhammad, because I don't think that referees would ever let fights go on anymore like they did back in this. I mean, some of these fights, if you watch it, for people, your listeners go out there and seek them out, you'll see that these fights were unbelievable. They were crazy. So, but he also had a lot of boxing skill. But he like many Philadelphia fighters, had that thirst for a battle. And, early on in his career, he was a little bit more of a boxer puncher, but the legend goes he lost a fight to Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, then Eddie Gregory, a close fight that he felt he won, and he said, "I'm never leaving it to the judges again." And thank God that's what he said, because he went on to really, make some amazing fights and really, impact the history of Philadelphia boxing, and, as well as, the whole boxing scene. So you can't go wrong. Check them out if you don't know about them, and take a look.
Kurt, did you want to ask anything from John?
Yeah, hey John.
Hey Kurt.
I was going to ask, because like you, I'm a huge Matthew Saad Muhammad fan. I've seen all the fights, and before he died, I was actually reading about there was plans in the pipeline for like a documentary or a movie. I mean, have you heard anything about that?
Well, it's one of those things. There was always, Saad Muhammad was a guy who had this amazing story, very briefly. I mean, you know the story about how he was found as abandoned as a child, and, he grew into this, he's kind of a street guy for a while, like kind of a tough guy in the streets, and found his way to a boxing gym, and then had this amazing career. But all through it was just this really, good-hearted, happy, warm guy. But there was always talk that they were going to make his story into first like a regular movie, like a narrative movie, cast it and tell the story, and it was a stop and start thing, and it never happened. And I know he was very disappointed because, later in his career, he did quite well as a fighter, made some money, but, his finances were not in great shape, by the time he died, and there was a long, like many boxers, there was a long period when, he didn't have much money, and the wealth that he had gotten in the ring, was gone, and he needed something like that, and it never happened. I know it was something he always was chasing after, and people around him, his people were trying to get it done. But then it kind of shifted into a documentary, and I know that his brother was very involved in it, and I know they filmed a lot of people, and they videoed a lot of people. Interviews. I know people who were involved in it. I've seen them set up. Like I go to the International Hall of Fame every year. In a couple of years, they've had tables up there, publicizing it and trying to push it forward. But it's not finished, and it hasn't been released, and I don't know what the status is. But again, it was one of those very frustrating things. Like they always wanted to tell the story, and haven't so far. But unfortunately, a lot of times the way it works is, it comes too late for the actual subject, in this case, Saad Muhammad, to enjoy it. Now that he's gone, it'll be a year in May that he's passed away. Chances are, I can't imagine that something won't be put together about be released about this great fighter, sometime in the future. And unfortunately, it won't be in his lifetime, but. Still, it's a great story to tell, but I don't know the status. I just know that, they've really worked at it, but I think it was a pretty small budget, project, definitely done on spec, and there was no, real financial backing, and there was no studio or network behind it. So, those projects are usually labors of love that, are a miracle if they get out, and I'm sure that they still want to do it. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about it since his death.
Well, hopefully that'll be something in the future which should get made, because as you said, John, obviously the story of Matthew Saad Muhammad is you couldn't make it up, I suppose they would say. But I'd like to extend my thanks again for you coming on, John. Thank you very much for giving us your time and telling us a little bit, just a small insight into the career of Matthew Saad Muhammad there. And I'm sure that the project will hopefully get pushed over the line very soon. And we'll put a link up to the GoFundMe page, obviously, and try and get that rolling if we can. So thank you very much on behalf of myself and Kurt for joining us again, John.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for having me on, and I hope your listeners will, look into Saad Muhammad and consider donating. I'm very confident that we'll get where we need to get, but we need every dollar, and we need. We need to show them that love, and so that's really important. And I appreciate the opportunity to get this word out, outside of Philadelphia. We've had a lot of support and people in different countries and, all over the United States, stepping up to the plate and giving us a donation. But, we still need your help, and hope that, your listeners will think about it. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me on, and thank you very much.
No problem, John. Keep up the good work. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, guys, I think Kurt's adding on Sean. Sean Rigby, is there any word there, Kurt?
Just waiting for him to join. I think, he's just got to join the call.
Okay. So it looks like you're getting the boot then, Adam?
No. Where is it?
I think it's one of them, people are just going to tune in to see me get beat up like Mayweather, so bring it. I've got the right business model. So.
We've got some defence here for Adam. Someone just said Adam talks the most sense.
Yes. Whoever said that, thank you.
But that was swiftly followed by Adam Out and Smelly Pirate Hooker.
That's Adam's brother.
Yeah, the Mixler can get a little bit brutal. We're still waiting for Sean to join the call. While we do so, Donnie, we'll take a quick sojourn stateside to your neck of the woods. Henry mentioned the Gary Russell-Johnny Gonzalez fight there, and I mean, it was a bit of a surprise to me to see Russell knock him out, to be honest. I know Gonzalez maybe isn't the most durable in the world, but I thought if there was going to be a knockout, it was going to be a Gonzalez one, and if it was going to go to points, then Russell Jr. would maybe get it. I mean, how did you see that one going?
Yeah, I mean, Gary Russell has a good knockout record, but I mean, before Lomachenko, I mean, he fought absolute garbage. I mean, everybody knows that. That's the biggest criticism of the guy. And so, I mean, I didn't really put much stock in that knockout record, but turns out, I mean, Gonzalez, yes, he's been fragile in the past, but usually it's been not very early in fights. I mean, he just, I mean, that to me, that's I mean, he just knocked out a lineal champion, and he did it in 4 rounds, so I really can't say anything about it. But to me, that reeked of being a stylistic type of a cherry pick in a way, because Russell's so fast, and, in the featherweight division, 33 or 34 years old is fucking ancient. And, you know what I mean? And it just, I feel like he really got this guy at the right time, in my opinion. And I picked Russell to win. I don't know if we picked him last week, but in my mind, I swear to God, I definitely had Russell picked. And I think that, I mean, it's obviously a huge scalp for Russell to have on his record, obviously. Technically now he is the lineal guy at the weight, but I mean, I just, I don't know if I'm sold on him yet. I mean, to me, I still don't think he could beat Lomachenko, and that's what really matters, right? I mean, if there's somebody else at your weight that's better than you, and I think much better than you, then you gotta, you're not really the king of that weight yet. So, but fair play to him. I mean, I can't take anything away from him. He put on an impressive performance, and personally, I mean, he was really gone in that 3rd round, and I mean, the 4th round he just came out and finished what he started, which means that he really had him shaken up bad, because I mean, even the minute between rounds didn't let him clear his head. So obviously, Russell is a bigger puncher than we thought.
Donnie, we'll be back to you. Hold that thought. We've actually got Sean Rigby on the line. Sean, are you there?
Hello, lads. You all right?
Not too bad at all. Tell me you're not going to talk about Corn Brook, are you?
Well, it's all been said, though, hasn't it, now, lads, to be honest?
Go ahead, man.
Well, 2 points. Look, I mean, I think in the fight, Khan had slapped Brook to bits. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. But otherwise, I think I can't help but thinking that Hearn and Brook and the whole Matchroom team, they've built a rod for their own backs with this Khan nonsense, because at the end of the day, they could be filling out stadiums fighting people like Jojo Dan every couple of months. But now the whole public wants to see this fight, and it's probably not going to happen for a very long time. If it does, Khan's going to get beat, and it makes poor business sense as far as I'm concerned to be chasing that fight. I don't know what you lads think about that, but I mean, I think it's silly myself. Anybody want to agree with Sean, or?
Well, if we accept that, even I'd accept that Khan's the bigger name, then they might not be building a rod for their own back, because you could see it as they're getting on the back of, the back of Khan's name, and then when Khan doesn't take the fight for whatever reason, they can just say, well, we tried, and and he won't take the fight. They can play it that way. That whether it's wrong or right, that's might be the way.
But if they say that, if they say, well, we tried, I mean, that seems to be the party line, doesn't it, with Matchroom at the moment? We're trying to make the fight, the other guys don't want it. But matter of fact, I mean, like, what does Khan or anybody else need to fight Brook for, to be honest, other than for his belt? I just don't see it myself. I looking at the rankings, I mean, who are you going to get in there with? But honestly, if I'm completely honest, I couldn't give a shiny shite. I really don't care. I just don't care, lads.
Do you not think it's a good fight, though? I mean, people are saying about needing this and needing that, but surely at the stage that they're both in, regardless of the ego and the belt and the money and all that, is it a good fight?
I think it is a good fight. I think it'd be entertaining. Like I said, I think there's for some reason, I have it in my head that they get in the ring, and look, the pair of them, they're both impressive fighters, but get in the ring, I just see Brook being embarrassed. I just see him being completely embarrassed by Khan. I don't know why. I just get that feeling. But yeah, like I said, it is a good fight, but for some reason, I'm just not that interested. Whether or not it's just Eddie Hearn's voice going, I think it'd be a fucking great fight, It'd be an amazing fight, come on, it'd be amazing. Maybe that's
sounds like Rocco.
Yeah. I think that maybe that's what puts me off. But yeah, I'm not that bothered. I'm just not that fussed. I think, like you were saying before, like with the Groves and Froch fighting to be second best in the division. I think with these two, they're fighting for third place, and I'm just not really taking. I'm saying, fuck it, let's go to heavyweight. Let's have it. Let's take him there. Come on, they're all ducking him. They're all ducking Oval. They're terrified.
Eddie will have him in with AJ by the end of the year.
Yeah. They'll probably need to get him stabbed in Tenerife first before that happens. But that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested. Oval McKenzie, come on. That poor fella has been knocking people over, getting beaten here, there, and everywhere. And look, I'm not getting me wrong. It was a pretty poor fight the other night, but I think Askin made it so. And I love a bit of Oval. I do. Give me Oval McKenzie all day long. That's what it's all about. And balls all this Brook fucking all of the lights. I wonder, is Kanye West getting kickbacks from that? That's one surefire way to make sure you're not liked by anyone, is having Kanye West's name in yours. Fuck me. I mean, that's just mental.
Justin Bieber going out with Floyd, though.
I don't think it's not as bad. No, it's not as bad as Bieber going out with Floyd. But at least Bieber's there, just putting the guy's name up in PowerPoint presentation. Fucking pound shop. What's he going to have, like Richard Blackwood rapping with him next time, Kelbrook?
I did see someone tweet last night all of the knives, which I'll just
I mean, that's shocking. And talk about piggybacking. I mean, that's just shite. That's really shite. But you know what I mean? What I was saying, back to Brook Card. I mean, all that razzmatazz, all that nonsense, all the lights. They could be selling that arena out business-wise. They could be selling that arena out, doing pretty well for themselves. And you know what? Had they not been bringing up Khan and all these other names, I'd just love to fight, Pacquiao, Mayweather, Khan, I'm number one.
That's a great impression.
Thank you very much. But if they're not bringing all their names up, if they weren't bringing their names up, we'd probably all be just happy seeing seeing Brook defend his belts.
Hold on, I think you should do the rest of your talk in that impression. That just works so well.
Right, listen to me, right? Listen, Cougar Bear. Don't get me wrong, right? I want that big names, and I've got it all behind me now. Come back from life-threatening, stabbing in Tenerife. I don't know how we're there, and I don't know who they were. I sketch artist down police station trying to write his face down, and I couldn't tell what it looked like.
Baby.
Tell you now, baby. Tell you now.
This could be the best ever. This
is just taking a turn for the bizarre. Sean, I was going to say, is there anything else you want to say? But is there any other impressions you want to do before you?
I think Steve should do the Kelbrook as well.
There's no way I could be doing this.
Try to get a Kelbrook interview.
I'll tell you what. If you want a free interview, Kelbrook, you want a good laugh, you ring me next week.
Can you do Carl Froch?
No, can I? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't mind looking like a bellend, not that big of a bellend. I'm sorry. not even I can do. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you what, we could bring up Carl Froch and what you're saying about this Golovkin. No, that's just mental. What planet is he on? Fuck me. He's doing some. Never mind fucking tumble. He's doing brain gymnastics, that dickhead. Coming out with that bollocks. That's just mental about Golovkin. Oh, he's too small. I mean, we all know what he's been saying in the past about how he wouldn't step in the ring with him. And now for all this horse shit, it's just too much. It's just too much for me. I've had enough. I've seen people say in the past, like with these cards on, we might be checking out of boxing. I might fucking check out of boxing. All this shite on, it's just madness. I don't know, but
yeah, Sean, don't be checking out of boxing before you rang us up again, man, because that was great crack. But thanks for your call. I appreciate that. I'm sure all the lads echo those sentiments.
Cheers,
Cal, lads.
and Sean.
Long time listener, love it. Gets me through the days, man. Gets me through the days. And let's be now, lad. I'll see you all later. All right, steady.
Sure.
Right, lads. Well, flip me. We are definitely in the asylum tonight. Anyway, I think that's for sure. I'd have to check my notes, man. I don't even know where the hell we are. We're gonna have to get our skates on a bit, boys. Otherwise, we're gonna be going past. This is gonna be a Frank Warren card. We're gonna be going till 2:00 in the morning at this rate.
Steve, I can do a one-liner on Gary Russell Jr. Very impressed.
Okay, excellent. Thanks very much.
Sorry, I know you want to move on, Steve, but
we're moving on. If anyone wants to say anything about Jamel Charlo, Vanes Martirosyan, then please make it very quickly. Jump in now.
It wasn't very good.
Excellent, Paul. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Shannon Briggs got a knockout one round in Panama. He's going to fight Klitschko next, isn't he? I mean, that's the logical fight.
Let's go, champ.
Are we giving more time to Shannon Briggs than Charlo and Marty Rosian?
I don't even know what's
Steve doesn't
going on
know where
anymore.
he is anymore. He's begging for Andy to come back. He's lost it now. He's off the radar.
All is forgiven. Well, Paul, if you want to talk about Jamel Charlo and Vanes Martirosyan, you jump in and let us know what your thoughts are. I mean, who's the better brother then, Jamel or Jamal, or do you even care?
Do we even know?
No, they're both the same. No, I thought the fight was very close. I actually had it 95-95, and it was a competitive fight, but it wasn't particularly exciting. I think that's mainly down to Marty Rosian. He's pretty hard on the eye. He's not a particularly great fighter to watch. But if we get on to Briggs, didn't he get a point deducted and still win in the first round?
He did, yeah. He went to the body, vicious.
That's how gangster he is.
That's pretty impressive to manage to get a stoppage and a point deduction all within about 2 minutes. So yeah, that's Marty Rosian fight. It was all right. It was a decent lead-in, but it wasn't a particularly exciting fight. And the Charlos are in that division. You can see where they're going to manoeuvre. I think either of them could certainly go up to obviously beyond world level and into bigger fights, because it's not the strongest division in boxing at the moment.
Well, if the Charlos didn't have this sort of heavy promotional backing, I mean, do you think they'd be anywhere near the top end of sort of these TV cards? I mean, is that harsh?
You say they get good backing, and like I said, but they're generally used as fillers on cards. They're not often in main events, and I think you're right. They've got the right people behind them. You can see there's a clear push. It just depends on what fight they're going to go to. I don't know where they'll go next with either brother, and it's a bit like the Jarrells. They're not. You ask how many fans in America are fans of Charlo, and there's none. They're the kind of fighters that add nothing in terms of arena value, but the network seem quite happy. Showtime seem quite happy to stick them on as co-main events or slightly further down the card. If there's Showtime pay-per-views, you expect to see one on. That's just what they're being used for. They're fillers at the moment, on the hope that they actually end up in a decent scrap.
Mm-hmm. Donnie, Marty Rosian lost a close one to Andrade, and then he got back on track against Willie Nelson, didn't he? Not the singer, the other one, and he lost a narrow one here. I mean, did he do his credibility at world class any harm, or do you think he'll get more work at this level?
Marty Rosian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in the mix. He's only got 2 losses, and they're to 2 highly respected prospects. I don't see why he can't. I mean, obviously he'll have to climb back up the ladder and probably get himself a mandatory or something. But I mean, he could do that. That's a deep division, and the only problem is with 154 is that a lot of the guys you need to get back up the ladder don't want to fight you because everyone's just sort of angling around, taking low risk fights because the Canelo's still in the always lurking in the midst, and so. You could put together a great tournament at 154, but we're just now going to see it because, like I said, there's just too much to lose for some of these guys who think that they maybe it could be the guy to get Canelo next if they could just get one big springboard type of win. So, but I mean, yeah, Martin Rojan will go on, and like I said, it's just 2 losses. But the problem is he's also not a particularly exciting fighter. He does have a small ethnic fan base with the is it the Armenians or the Albanians? Sorry, I'm gonna mess it up. I think
So
it's
is he Armenian? I think, is he?
Yeah, I think he's Armenian, and so I mean, out in California, apparently, I think there's a lot of them. So, so that helps build in a fan base for him. I mean, not a huge one, but it'll sell some tickets and make a promoter interested in him anyways. So, so I mean, yeah, he still has a future. And for Charlo, it's a good win for him. And I mean, he'll probably be trying to get Canelo now, but don't expect him to take anything big to try to get there because again, you still have the conflict with Heyman and De La Hoya. Is Heyman going to be willing to throw his fighters into fights, as springboards to get De La Hoya? If Canelo beats those guys or whatever, it doesn't do anything for Heyman. So it's just unclear as to how that whole situation is going to play out.
Mm-hmm. Any other takers on Charlo Martirosyan before we mention Donaire? No. Alex, I believe you saw the Donaire Prado fight. Am I right in saying that? Or the knockout, even?
Yeah, I didn't see the fight. I was following Ryan Sangalia, the Filipino boxing sort of expert, I suppose, and he was tweeting about it, and he posted a clip of the knockout, and it just seemed like Donaire was throwing big left hands, like, just going fucking crazy, whittling at him, and smashed Prado into submission. I suppose he looked good in the second I saw, but it'd be nice to see Donaire. I always thought it to look better at 122 than he did at 126. Obviously, I still think he could be in decent fights with lots of Farab and Quick.
Alex, we're losing you a bit there. It's jumping in and out.
No.
Not to worry, we get the gist. Donaire got a second round knockout win over William Prado, so it's just keep busy fight for him, really, I think. Do we know if Azif's coming on, or should we move on to the Twitter questions? Anybody?
Go on to the Twitter questions and we'll see if he's coming on or not while you read it through.
No probs. This is going to be the quick fire round in every sense of the word, guys, to try and keep it as brief as we possibly can. Donna, you're still there, aren't you?
Yes.
Excellent. So we'll come to you with the first question. This is from Matchmaker at @_fightmaker. Will Carl Froch carry on or retire? How do you see him matching up with the likes of B-Hop, Andre Ward, or Triple G?
B-Hop, maybe. I mean, if Hopkins is still training and plans to keep fighting, I could give him a chance in that one. The other fights, no way, no.
None of them at all, no?
I mean, really? Andre Ward, maybe if it was like his comeback fight or something and there was a lot of ring rust, you could make an argument. Not a good argument, but you could make an argument. And Golovkin is in as peak form as it gets. I don't think is there anyone here who'd pick Froch in that fight, or at least I think the real thing would be would Golovkin knock him out or not, and I'm not sure that he would. But it'd be interesting to see it. It'd be it'd be the fight of the year personally. It'd be a great fight, but it doesn't. If Golovkin was just a little bit further on, if Golovkin, for instance, was coming off like a win against Cotto or a win against Canelo or a win against somebody else, big name, something like that, I think Froch would take that fight, but it's just not a double pay-per-view the way the Chavez fight was, and I don't think Froch really knows where to go with that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Donald. Henry's still in the Skype chat, actually. He says Triple G gets cobra'd. So
he's not back on.
Would you actually take Froch in that fight? I'm just interested.
Anybody, yes or no's?
I don't think it's a straightforward demolition for Golovkin. It's Carl Froch is a much bigger guy. I think Martin Murray going 11 rounds with him showed that as good as Golovkin is, and he did a job on Murray, he's not a wrecking ball. And I think that Froch, I don't think he wins, but I just don't see Golovkin walking through him. I think it'd be a very good fight, though, because if it doesn't end in a couple of rounds, like a lot of Golovkin's fights do, it'd be interesting to see how Golovkin does with someone like Froch, who is pretty relentless and in the back third of a fight knows how to win. I think it will be an excellent fight. It's not going to happen. It'd be a great fight.
He's not going to get rid of Froch early. No way. Froch is too tough for that. Golovkin's going to land on him now, and it's going to be interesting to see how Froch does deal with that, and whether when Froch lands on Golovkin, because Golovkin himself takes punches. This is from a big, strong suit middleweight. How he reacts. But I think Steve said it. That would be a fight of the year candidate. That'd just be a great fight. And sadly, when it's a great fight, we're not going to usually see those type of fights, are we?
How's my mic at the moment? Is it okay?
Shaky. It's your connection, not your mic, I think.
It's a bit like Birdie reading out the scorecard.
Do you think Triple G stops Froch, Alex, and then we'll gauge whether the mic's working or not?
Okay.
I think that's answered it. Maybe so I think you're cutting in and out. But actually, Henry has qualified his statement. He thinks it's genuinely a 50-50. I think he was just trolling us there. Kurt, I'm going to ask you the next question here. This is from Nick STFC at Nick Garbett. If Zhu Shiming and Frankie Gavin were the same weight and fought, would that kill off boxing forever?
It'd probably kill a lot of us off as well, I reckon. Yeah, that'd be horrible. Just the thought of that makes me want to attack that person who just sent in that question.
That's at Nick Garbett. Send your hate mail to Nick
Hate
there.
you. And everyone's tweet him, just hate him for what he just sent.
Adam, Connor Garcia at normal_name is asking you this question. When will it be considered ducking if Khan doesn't fight Brook next? And how many times will Wembley be mentioned?
Oh, the unlimited amount of times. It would only can be considered ducking when we know Khan's next opponent, or Khan doesn't fight until the fall. If Khan goes from now until whatever November, December without fighting, then yeah, I'm seeing it pretty much as a duck. Everyone who's been on, who's a Khan fan, says it's an easy fight. Take the easy fight. Take all the money. Take all the British hype and love for what the winner is obviously going to get. And then take all that to the table when you're negotiating with Fighter A.
Excellent stuff. Alex, this next Twitter question comes in from Nunez at StrangeWays21. How many overly matched summer showdowns can Fast Car stick on this summer at $16.95 a pop? I think we've still got connection issues, actually,
His
Alex.
connection's gone down like Steve Lillis. He's white.
Look, me, it's getting a bit dangerous at the moment then.
Yes.
How many overmatched summer showdowns can Fast Car stick on, Paul? We'll send that one to you instead.
Well, the three that he wants for pay-per-view, he's not going to get any of them. So the only fight that we know is definitely happening this summer is the Battle of Hull, the Northeast Thriller in Manila. So that's a fight that's definitely going to happen. I mean, I don't think they...
Lads, I think we've had the curse of technology there, haven't we? I think we...
Has Frank Warren's lawyer been on the line and destroyed the Skype?
Is it just because I mentioned Cole Campbell doesn't mean you have to hang up on me?
I think it's when we get to 10 callers, I think.
Okay.
Oh, then just take off the people that were...
Yeah, well, I think we need to remove the ones I think who are still sitting on, maybe. Can we do that?
Yeah, well, whoever started the call can do it. Okay,
it wasn't me, but I'm assuming we're still going live, so...
Well, I didn't start, so someone pull the finger out.
It's fine now, it's down to 7. It's down to 7 now.
Okay, we're down to 7, so we seem to be getting on okay.
Yeah.
So, Paul, I believe you're in the middle of talking about the Summer Showdown. Sorry, please go ahead and try not to mention whatever it is you said so that we don't go off again.
Okay, so there's 3 pay-per-view fights they want to happen this year. Quigg Frampton, DeGale Groves and Khan Brook. None of those 3 will happen this side of September. So I think realistically the only summer fight that we've got at the moment is Cole Campbell. They may pull something else out, but I think that if it's true that Eddie was tasked with providing a certain amount of pay-per-views for a year, he's certainly failing on that. And I wouldn't be surprised if an extra fight's added to Mitchell Selby to make that show a pay-per-view, because Sky have a demand for them. And I think there's a lot of pressure on Eddie right now to deliver. And he's struggling because he's trying to make 3 fights with 3 fighters that he's not got any involvement with. And that's where he's always going to come up short.
Well, last week he said that he's got another world title fight lined up for May the 30th. So, we're guessing who that might be. But if he is to add another world title fight, and his definition of world title differs to ours, then that would probably make that into a pay-per-view in the eyes of Sky Sports.
I think, judging by the fact they've priced the tickets in the way they have, means they're looking to add another fight. And I think that having 2 pay-per-views in a month, Sky don't tend to do that, but it's certainly not without possibility, especially as the Mayweather-Pacquiao is an additional fight to what Matchroom have with their deal with Sky.
Yeah.
So I think it could happen, depending on what that fight may be. If it's a WBA belt with Cal Yafai, then no, it's not really going to turn it into a pay-per-view. But if it's the names that have been bandied around, that I think they would go that route. And they've had success with the god-awful Cleverly Bellew pay-per-view. So
what name has been bandied about, Paul? Do you know?
Well, there's been a few. There was a lot of talk last week, which I found quite strange because obviously with what they have with Liverpool, but about a Tony Bellew cruiserweight title fight. There's been quite a few. I think in the lower weights there are options. It's just depending on who's available at the time and what they can make. Stephen Smith, he's lost out on the IBF shot, but he's still in place for the WBC, but he's going to have to wait on that. So that's why, I mean, there isn't an obvious third title fight to add. But it does need it because Mitchell and Selby aren't big names, especially Selby. They'd really struggle to market that. Even though they're both in good fights, they'd struggle to market that as a pay-per-view as is. They need to add, dare I say, it's a London card with a fighter that's got nothing on at the moment. Stick George Groves on it in some sort of decent fight, and that becomes a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Thanks very much, Paul. Donny, back to you again. This is from Paul at ANZ90. I think this was the guy who was on earlier, actually. Is Jojo Dan moving up to middleweight after he ate all those chocolate brownies last night?
Yeah, because obviously dreams. I mean, I think a move to middle will suit him well.
Great stuff. Kurt, Robert Johnson at Mr. Rob Johnson. In order from 1 to 5, who do you want to see Brook in with next? Realistically, from Berto, Madonna, Khan, Marquez and Rios.
Khan number 1, then Marquez, then Maidana, and then it's out of, who is it, Chinny Berto and brain damaged Rios. I mean, it's a tough one. I'd rather see Rios than Berto probably, because at least he's going to take punches. You know, Cal Brook will land a chocolate brownie and Berto will be gone.
Fair enough.
Where does all that right hand chocolate brownie stuff come from? I'm unsure as to the origin of that.
Before the Porter fight, wasn't it? Didn't he mention it then?
Yeah, he mentioned it in lead up to that, didn't he?
Hello.
Alex.
Alex sounds like Brandon Rios underwater trying to talk.
Right, who are we down to now? Adam, you're still with us, aren't you?
Yep.
What sends you to sleep first, Lethal Injection or Frankie Gavin in a 12-rounder?
Definitely Frankie Gavin. If Frankie Gavin was on an American undercard, I've got a habit of doing this, he would definitely send me to sleep.
They'd be booing him after about 10 seconds, wouldn't they? That's from Andrew Lee Evans, by the way. Sorry, Andrew. Paul, would Brook beat Thurman in America from Schism 666?
That's a nice name. No, I really am quite sold on Keith Thurman. I think a lot of people criticise him for the Bundu fight, but it showed that he can box the distance and he can box it well. I think on the fights we've seen them in at the moment, I'd probably lean towards Thurman. And it's in America because there's no way on earth Thurman fights over here.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Final one. I'm going to mention Rocco's briefly, but James Collette, does listening to Carl Froch make anyone else consider suicide? I'm going to answer that one. Yes. And we had one in from Rocco, actually. Now, I'm hoping we don't end up in a black hole on this one, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I promised that I would. At Rocco_619. And he sent me a little essay here. So basically, due to the vagueness of this Kell Brook stabbing story and no mention of trying to catch the perpetrator, do you think it was all a plan by Eddie and Brook to raise his profile? As other than boxing fans, no one knows who he is. Amir is far more well known. More people know Kelly Brook than Kell Brook FFS. It's backfired though, because Amir cheats on his wife and his front page news, whereas Brook's slashing, I don't think made the front page. So was it a publicity stunt gone wrong? Donny.
Wow. All right. Down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories here. I mean, I do think it's a little weird though that he was with some strange guy at 4:00 in the morning while his wife was back at the hotel, and he's on vacation and he's in a strange country and he's like with people he doesn't know, and he goes to their apartment to hang out. I mean, I think the obvious supposition there is that they were probably doing some sort of drugs or something. I mean, that would be my assumption, but. I mean, I don't really know. I'll let other people speculate. I mean, I do think that there is definitely something weird about it, though. And anybody who says it isn't is just probably a big fan of the guy who doesn't want to come to terms with that fact.
I agree with Donny, but I think Rocco's taking it a little bit too far. His imagination's running wild on him. I don't think it was a publicity stunt from the get-go, but I do think there's been some sort of cover-up. I mean, I've mentioned it on Twitter the last few weeks, mentioned it in my blog, that we've got no justice for Kel, or there's been an arrest or suspect sought. We haven't had any pictures of a wanted man, or we've not had any of that. Something fishy is going on. Kel Brook was doing something that he shouldn't have been doing on that evening, and obviously it hurt him bad, and it could have taken his life. But it's been brushed under the carpet by all involved.
Well, Brooke was in a rented apartment. They know who rents that apartment. Well, the guy he was in someone else's apartment. They know who rented that. If there was some real deeply suspicious thing, they'd have found this guy already. The circumstances are obviously that bad that they're not pursuing it because they don't want Brooke to look bad for whatever it was. I don't believe the rumours, the gay rumours, but I think the drug rumours are probably quite likely, and it will look very bad if that comes out publicly.
How was the mark? Nah.
You there, Alex? No?
Hello.
No, I think we're losing you, man.
Hello.
Go ahead, Alex. Give it one more try, and I'll let you know if it doesn't work, because we're close to finishing up anyway. I think we're going to skip on the old Bellew of the Week and finish up after this discussion, unless maybe a caller called James wants to come on. But go ahead, Alex, and give it a go.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
It's back.
Hello.
Let James go.
No, I think we've lost you, Alex. James, are you there? How you doing? Steve here.
I'm there. I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Brooke.
Go on then.
Right, yeah. Basically, yeah. I'm a big Brooke fan, but I think Khan schools him. I'm not even gonna lie. I just think sort of people sort of overrating the performance on Saturday. Like. I don't know, like, Dan looked like a bit of a bum, do you know what I mean? Like what do you think? What do you think how Brooke Khan goes?
Well, personally, I fancy Khan to win on points. I think he may just be a bit too fast, but I don't know what the other guys are going to think. I mean, I'm sure the likes of Donny and Adam have their own opinions. What do you think, lads?
Quickly, I think Brooke knocks him out.
And I don't deny that that's a possibility. I mean, anything could happen, but I mean, I think that Kel Brook he has good power, but Khan's dealt with those guys before. And I just think the real question you have to ask yourself is, who in the world, besides maybe Floyd Mayweather, do you pick, to beat Khan in a fight that takes place entirely on the outside? Khan doesn't get outboxed on the outside. You need to have inside skills to beat Amir Khan. You got to get inside to land those shots that'll hurt him and knock him out. And and I don't really see who in the world beats Khan if the fight takes place on the outside, because it's just like it's on like an Olympic style fight for him, and he can just do exactly what that's Khan's office. If you want to stay at distance, jab and try to throw long shots, he'll eat you up.
Yeah, this thing. I'm gonna agree with Donny. I hate Khan's style, but like it's hard to beat. Do you know what I mean? It's not even good boxing, to be honest, but it's just the way he raids in with them punches, and it's like. It's really hard to beat. I'm a Brooke fan, but it's like I can't see him timing that. And Khan's looking better. Ever since he's come up to 147, Khan's been looking good. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I'm really struggling to pick that fight. Like Khan's looking good. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know.
Fair enough, James. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on? Because I think we're going to close out on the Bellew of the Week due to popular demand, and that before we finish up. So if there's anything else, if you want to
What else have you been speaking about?
Been speaking about everything, to be honest with you. I mean, is there any other fights over the weekend that interested you, or is there anything coming up next week that interests you, or, just briefly?
What do you think of the Gary Russell fight?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good knockout. I was impressed by Russell's performance. I mean, how would you think he would get on against the likes of Walters or Lomachenko if they were to fight?
Well, he's already fought Lomachenko, ain't he? So, Lomachenko
Oh,
schools him
yes.
again. Yeah. But,
My head's away, man.
the Walters fight's interesting, I don't know. That's a good fight. I like to see any of them fights, But, I like to see him fight Lomachenko again, Lomachenko set that belt, I don't know. But, yeah.
Is there an elephant on the pod having a piss?
What the hell is going on in this background? But I'm sorry about that, James. But thanks for coming
No,
on.
it's all good.
We'll let you get on. Cheers for giving your opinions, and we'll
Yeah, go on. All right, nice one.
Nice one. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Right, lads. Are we going to go with the Bellew of the week this week, or what? What's the verdict?
It's been a long one, hasn't it?
We got the
Get
interview
it
as well
on.
to add on. You see, so we're sort of going in around the sort of 2 hour marks. I mean,
Put it on.
There's so many. There's so many this week. You need to do it.
Right, should we
Put
do it then?
on.
okay, then we'll
Do it,
as
mate.
long as everybody promises to keep it brief and stick to their couple of seconds or whatever. Then Kurt, go ahead. We'll stick on the Bellew of the week. Play the music.
Steve being very strict today. I don't like this.
Going to beat me up, and that's all I've got to say about that. Well, let's do it right now. We can do it right now, you fucking rat. Okay, what's the Bellew of the week?
Okay, guys, we have the esteemed Bellew of the week. It's back by popular demand, even though we are running a bit long. Sure, we might as well stick it in. We can't let good old Tony down. He'd be a bit annoyed, I think, if we didn't go with it. So I have 3 Bellews of the week written down here, and I believe there are some more, so I'll come round after I've read these out, and you can add in your own if you want to. First of all, we have Jim Watt. Now, I didn't actually see this fight, but apparently this is a good one. He said that Adam Etches should have been given a chance to carry on. Apparently Etches was out of there. I don't know if anyone can verify that.
Yeah, he said it.
He was gone, weren't he?
Fair enough. So Jim thought he should have been given a chance to carry on, but I mean, I suppose we're not surprised about that. Also on the card, ripping it up by the sound of it, we've got Frankie Gavin. And when he was asked why he's not ripped like Kell Brook, he said, people have different genetics, and when you're darker, you look more ripped. Is that a genuine one?
That was on Twitter, yeah, it's genuine.
Okay.
So
I thought it was being set up then when I read that one out.
It's just a shame he was born white, otherwise he'd be like Timothy Bradley, wouldn't he?
sure. Good old Carl Froch's made it onto the list. Wouldn't be the same without Carl, would it? Speaking about facing Gennady Golovkin, he's not a super middleweight. It took him 11 rounds to beat Martin Murray, and Murray wouldn't go 2 to 3 rounds with the Cobra.
I just like how he talked about himself as the Cobra as well. It just made it even more funnier.
It's like how Batman refers to himself as Batman or Spotman. It's the same sort of thought.
He just says it, he doesn't say it jokingly, he just says it normally, and he just refers, he must get everyone to call him it. I reckon his mum calls it him as well.
The thing is about the Cobra, fellas, is that he backs his words up. He said he was going to knock out George Groves, and he did it
quickly.
in front of 90,000, he got splattered.
Get trending.
Number 4 in the list, we have Adam Smith. The thing is about the Cobra is he backs his words up.
It's the winner.
and it was 78,000, but you can add on 12.
Okay. Well, Donny, have you got anything to add to Bellew of the Week?
Well, I don't, but I just would remind the listeners of the other one that I just apparently became apprised of earlier in this podcast, where Johnny Nelson apparently said, "Let's hope that Eddie Hearn brings Victor Ortiz over for Kell Brook."
Okay.
But did anyone actually hear it? Can we get the quote?
I think we can all see that that's something that Nelson would say 100%.
Okay, we'll add Johnny Nelson on as number 4. Kurt, do you have any to add in this week?
No, I think that's the only ones I can see at the moment.
Fair enough. Adam, do you have anything?
Yeah, I've got one. Friend of the show and famed Twitter user Brian King is getting a nomination for putting Sergei Kovalev down as someone who Carl Froch should fight next.
Okay, fair enough. We'll add Brian on.
That's not that crazy, but
it's ridiculous. It's taking his hate to a new level there.
Hashtag Adam out.
That wasn't me, Brian. I didn't add that one on now. Alex, have you got any?
How's the mic?
Good.
Yeah, it sounds okay. Go ahead.
Okay, hashtag Adam out. That's my contribution for now. I completely forgot the ones that I was going to add. Barry Hearn on Twitter earlier saying that Kell Brook is now a pay-per-view fighter. Amir Khan is not.
Okay, fair enough. Paul,
apparently,
do you have anything to add? Sorry, Donny, I'll come back to you one sec. Paul, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, MC Granger or Mark Burdis for not knowing the difference between a split decision and a majority decision, and despite years of being an in-ring boxing MC, not knowing how to read a card out. So Oval Mackenzie, Matty Askin was a split decision, but Burdis just calls it how he wants. He's in charge, and it was a majority. It was whatever he wants to say.
Why does he read it out like that? He just takes away all the anticipation of the result because you can hear it, and then you know who's won straight away because he reads it out.
Read out the two scores at once, and then the other score. Is that the way he did it?
No,
but instead of saying 115, 113, 115, he'll say 115, 113 to Askin, 113 to 115 to Oval Mackenzie, then he'll say 113, 115. You know straight away it's to Mackenzie.
He doesn't seem to know how to add any sort of sense of drama when he reads it. He gets handed the card, and you've got the top fighter and the bottom fighter, and he reads it as it's written. He doesn't seem to, as every other MC does, manoeuvre it in a way that it adds a little bit of drama. Everyone knew when it came to that third score who'd won. It didn't quite top the time that he read out Derry Matthews' card, and he read it as a split decision, but the first 2 scores were to Derry. So you knew straight away Derry won. I mean, the man he is. I mean, John McDonald might be shit, but at least he can read a card out properly.
That's it. And Burdis is a fucking actor, for God's sake. You think he knew how to read lines properly?
Yeah, nothing ever changed. I wonder why they got rid of Michael Pass. I thought he was quite good. Donny, you have one to add, do you, I believe?
Yes, I did, and I put it in the Skype. If someone wants to put it in the Mixler, apparently the Sky Toe to Toe podcast had a segment on should Sergey Kovalev move up to heavyweight, and I thought that is just the worst. I mean, they got to be kidding me with that shit. That's just. I mean, these people are supposed to be professionals.
Well, it's Spencer Fearon, so I use that word loosely.
Well, it's because he's not a brother. It's because Kovalev's not a brother, you see.
No, it's because he didn't fight in a New York cafe in the 1930s. Spencer Fearon only knows about people who did that.
So are we putting Spencer Fearon or just put Spencer Fearon, shall we? Why not?
Yeah, get him in.
Well, we've managed to get 8 together, so we've done pretty well. So we're going to go back around the table, then back through the panel, and we're going to see who is picking who. So just very briefly, we have Jim Watt about Adam Etches.
One more, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Kel Brook, mostly for comments throughout the week. I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but he started off by saying, Khan is beneath me. Khan's shit. I don't need Khan. I'm not going to call Khan out. No, I don't need him. And then straight away after the fight, calls Amir Khan out.
Okay, well, I'd kill.
We haven't had Eddie Hearn's in-ring shout into the crowd, "Who do you want Kel to fight?" Nonsense. That was friggin' awful.
That was cringe.
It was. And then straight after the fight, in the interview with Coogan, he went, "Yeah, I know Khan's not going to fight him." So if you knew that 10 minutes ago, why were you stood in the middle of the ring shouting to 7,000 or 8,000 people, "Who do you want to fight next?" Yeah.
Right, we've got 10. Any additions finally?
Let's see.
No. Okay, fair enough. So, Jim Watt on Adam Etches, Frankie Gavin, Carl Froch on Golovkin, Johnny Nelson on Victor Ortiz, Brian King, Barry Hearn, Mark Burdis, Spencer Fearon, Kel Brook for generic comments, and Eddie Hearn for his in-the-ring antics. Donny, who do you like out of that inauspicious lineup?
I like the Frankie Gavin one. That was good. It's the only reason he's not ripped is because he's white. That's just that's the only reason why at all. I thought that was great.
Okay, we'll chuck Frankie in with one. Kurt, what about yourself?
Yeah, I've got to agree. Frankie basically blaming his white parents for giving him white skin, which covers up all those bulging muscles.
Adam, what about you?
I'm going for the Box Nation ring announcer.
Mark Burdis, okay, we give a tick to Burdis there. Alex?
Yeah, I've got to go with Gavin mix, but I think he should really have been at the Dominoes and the 90. Seems sure.
I think he went for Mark Burdis.
I don't know, is that Brandon Rios on the line? I can never tell.
Alex, I've put you down for Mark Burdis, I hope that's okay. Oh no, you're going for Frankie Gavin, sorry. Okay, fair enough. Who's left? Paul, what about you?
Yeah, I think as much as it pains me, because I am one of the very few Frankie Gavin fans, Burdis ruined the end of a fight, but Frankie Gavin ruined 45 minutes of primetime television. So I think we'll have to go for Frankie's, and not just his non-performance, but the fact that it was on purpose, and he just doesn't give a shit whether you think he's exciting to watch or not. So definite value of the week for that.
Well, my vote's academic. I was actually going to go for Spencer Fearon, more for sort of a litany of crimes against boxing rather than this particular comment. But well, I think we've got Frankie Gavin then. He's got 4 ticks this week. So Frankie Gavin, congratulations. You are the Bellew of the week. Well done.
I bet he's well excited, like he is in all his interviews.
I'm sure he has. He's gone out for a Nando's to celebrate. Right, lads, unless there's any other business, take it there's not, then I think we'll wrap it up. I think it's fair to say that we lost control of this thing about an hour ago, and it was never pretty much regained, was it? But we had good crack tonight anyway, and the callers were great. So thanks everybody for ringing in. The good or bad news, depending on your viewpoint, is that I'll be back again next week in the hot seat. Well, I might be. I don't know. I'm expecting to be back next week anyway. That could change, but thanks very much for tuning in, for all your support anyway. It was great. And don't forget that we've got the interview as well on the download with John DeSanto. He's talking about the Matthew Saad Mohammed gravestone, which is a very worthy cause. So I'd encourage you all to listen to that and maybe go over to the GoFundMe website and take a look. So I'd like to thank the panel, Donny Baseball, Paul Webb, Kurt Ward, Alex Morris, Adam Smith. I've been Steve Wellings. We hope to hear from you again next week. Thanks very much. All the best.
Carl Froch, top £10 for pound.
Sean, greatest caller of all time.